Now, if Usyk Dubois rematch does come off, apart from what you would hope for, a better refereeing performance, what else needs to change for Dubois to become victorious this time?
Nothing. He's done everything he needs to do. He's changed a lot from that fight. He's grown up a lot. We've seen him in his last three performances that he's had. This is a different Daniel Dubois, and this will be. I believe this could be his time.
Frank Warren isn't mincing words. He believes Oleksandr Usyk's reign is on shaky ground. Daniel Dubois isn't just returning for redemption, he's coming for total destruction. Warren insists that if the rematch happens, Usyk is in for a nightmare. Dubois has evolved, stronger, smarter, and more dangerous than ever. The controversial stoppage was just the beginning. Now, Dubois is relentless, ready to shake up the heavyweight division. Usyk's dominance may seem untouchable, but Warren sees what the world doesn't. A transformed Dubois, prepared to unleash pure carnage. No more hesitation. No more playing it safe. Warren is adamant. Dubois was robbed of his moment and is coming back.
As he's recovering, and he's eager to get back into the ring again, having basically worked very hard and spent a fortune on a training camp for a fight that didn't happen. As is Don, his trainer and his dad, and everybody around him, including ourselves. So we're working on that, and he'll probably be out in the summer.
Back with a vengeance. He has pushed himself to the limit, determined to rewrite history. Is Usyk ready for this new, relentless Dubois, or is the heavyweight king teetering on the brink of a shocking downfall? Daniel Dubois was blindsided by illness, forced out of a fight that could have redefined his career. But setbacks don't break fighters. They make them more dangerous. Months of frustration have only fueled Dubois' hunger, and Frank Warren assures that his fighter is more determined than ever. While sidelined, Dubois hasn't been resting. He's been recovering, training, and preparing for a brutal comeback this summer. His camp, his father, and his team know there's unfinished business. The illness may have delayed him, but it hasn't stopped him. When Dubois steps back into the ring, expect destruction. He has a point to prove, and someone...
If he ain't ducking anyone, the objective of the fight that unfortunately didn't take place was the winner was going to fight Usyk. Yeah. That's what's going to happen. So it didn't happen, and we are where we are now. So if the Usyk fight can be made, it will be...
...is going to pay the price. Frank Warren is making one thing crystal clear. Daniel Dubois isn't backing down from anyone. The mission remains the same. The fight that never happened wasn't just another matchup. It was Dubois' direct path to Oleksandr Usyk. That shot was ripped away, but Warren refuses to let it slip through his fingers. No excuses, no delays. If a rematch with Usyk can happen, it will. Dubois knows exactly what's at stake. He wasn't just preparing for any opponent, he was gearing up for war. A victory would have propelled him straight to the top, and now, with everything on hold, Warren is working tirelessly behind the scenes to secure what Dubois was promised. The big question remains, will Usyk step up to settle unfinished business?
Better, all of a sudden, he wants Usyk. I don't believe he really wanted to fight Joseph Parker in the first place. I think when he beat AJ, it was in his mind already that he wanted Usyk. I don't want that banana peel fight. I might fight somebody and lose, and then I don't get the Usyk fight. And pretty much, this is pussy. This is a bitch-made move. I don't give a fuck.
Or will Dubois be forced to carve his own path and take what he believes is rightfully his? Comment below and let us know what you think about Dubois' comeback. Meanwhile, Daniel Dubois has made a move that can't be ignored. He's exposed himself as a fighter who never had the guts to face Joseph Parker in the first place. The moment he scraped past Anthony Joshua, his mind was fixated on Oleksandr Usyk, too afraid to take the real risks that could jeopardize his payday. Parker is a nightmare matchup, one that could dismantle Dubois' carefully crafted image. So what did Dubois do? He bailed. He pulled out, making excuses laced with fear, fully aware that Parker was the true test. And now, suddenly, he's ready for Usyk? The truth is, Dubois seems more interested in cashing in on a massive payday than proving he belongs at the top. If he truly believed in his abilities, he would have stepped.
That Turkey's been mentioned that he wants to see Dubois versus Usyk. Look, Eddie Hearn can say what he wants about, oh, Daniel Dubois is the front runner. At the end of the day, if Turkey Al-Sheikh is saying that he wants to see Usyk versus Dubois, and it looks ever more likely that's what we're going to get, because Dubois is not going ahead with the Parker fight, and it doesn't look like he's going to give Parker a fight anytime soon.
Stepped up to Parker and earned his shot the hard way. Instead, he dodges real challenges and expects greatness to fall into his lap. Is he a legitimate contender, or just another overhyped fighter avoiding the competition? Despite Eddie Hearn's claims that Dubois is the front-runner for a fight with Usyk, it's becoming painfully obvious that he's doing everything he can to avoid a real test. Tyson Fury's recent comments only add fuel to the fire, making Usyk versus Dubois seem like a real possibility. But Dubois' refusal to face Parker speaks volumes. It's starting to look like he'd rather sidestep a legitimate threat than risk a loss that could derail his hype. And the longer he delays, the more apparent it becomes. If he isn't ready for Parker, he isn't ready for Usyk either. Should this fight ever happen, Usyk will tear through him with ease.
And Dubois is a different animal to who he was 18 months ago. I was sparring him about 18 months ago, 2 years ago now, and he's come on leaps and bounds since then. Through fighting Jarrell Miller, through fighting Hrgovic, and obviously the camps for Joe Parker, they'll all be in the bank, and I'll be backing him. I think he could be the favourite going into that fight.
The real question is, will Dubois finally face the music, or will he keep running from the fights that could define his career? Time is ticking, and his excuses are quickly losing credibility. This isn't just about his future, it's about his legacy. On the other hand, Johnny Fisher's unwavering belief in Dubois' so-called transformation reeks of wishful thinking. Evolution? Let's be real. Dubois has been thrown into the deep end, and instead of emerging as a predator, he's barely managing to stay afloat. Johnny Fisher may talk about sparring sessions from 18 months ago, but that's irrelevant when the reality is clear. Daniel Dubois has failed to shine on the big stage. Sure, names like Jarrell Miller and Filip Hrgovic look decent on paper, but when it truly mattered against elite competition like Joseph Parker, Dubois was
Dubois do it second time against Usyk? He gets outboxed, yeah?
He gets outboxed again.
Does he get stopped?
Quite potentially, sure. Nobody's beaten Oleksandr Usyk. You know, I don't want to make it sound too cliche, but for me, where heavyweight boxing is concerned, he's head and shoulders. He's Premier League and everybody else's first division. As much as I like Dubois, and Dubois is improving all the time, still not got what it takes in my eyes to beat Usyk.
Exposed. Fisher's suggestion that Dubois could be a favorite against Oleksandr Usyk is laughable. The last time they met, Usyk toyed with him before putting him away with ease. Has Dubois truly transformed? Or is this just another overhyped narrative designed to prop up a fighter who has already shown his limitations? The answer is clear, yet some refuse to face it. Meanwhile, Duke McKenzie isn't buying into the fantasy that Dubois can dethrone Usyk. In his eyes, Dubois is walking straight into disaster, and this time, the result could be even worse. Usyk didn't just defeat him, he dismantled him, exposed his weaknesses, and made him question everything. While some claim Dubois has improved, McKenzie isn't convinced. Progress means nothing when facing a generational talent who has already broken.
I don't think there's any malice in terms of him pulling out because he's hurt.
No.
I think he was ill. I think it happened, and he, probably thought, I'll beat Parker, then I'll fight Usyk.
Yeah.
The Parker fight hasn't happened. In Daniel's position, naturally you're gonna chase the biggest fight out there in Usyk. From Joe's position, you're gonna be annoyed, but unfortunately that is boxing. As a voluntary defence, if the champion pulls out, most likely you're not.
You once. Usyk isn't a stationary target waiting to be hit. He's a chess master in a game where Dubois barely knows the rules. People love to hype up Daniel Dubois' power, but that's just a tired excuse. Oleksandr Usyk has neutralized bigger punchers before, and there's no reason to believe Dubois will suddenly crack the code. The reality is, this rematch isn't a challenge, it's a mismatch. Meanwhile, Simon Jordan and Chris Billam-Smith's explosive debate on TalkSport laid bare the truth behind Dubois' withdrawal from the Joseph Parker fight. Pulling no punches, Jordan made it clear he doesn't believe Dubois was genuinely ill. Instead, he sees it as a calculated move to avoid a fight he wasn't ready for. Dubois had his eyes locked on Usyk, prioritizing a bigger payday while assuming Parker could wait. Billam-Smith, though more
He wants Usyk. I don't believe he really wanted to fight Joseph Parker in the first place. I think when he beat AJ, it was in his mind already that he wanted Usyk. I don't want that banana peel fight. I might fight somebody and lose, and then I don't get the Usyk fight. And pretty much, this is pussy. This is a bitch-made move.
Acknowledged the harsh reality of boxing politics, admitting that decisions like these rob fans of the fights they truly deserve. Dubois' missed opportunity only fuels skepticism. Does he really want the biggest fights, or is he just picking the ones he thinks he can win? Now, with the Usyk showdown looming, there's no room for excuses. Will Dubois rise to the occasion and prove himself, or will he crack under the pressure once again? One thing's certain, there's no escaping this time. Daniel Dubois has exposed himself as a fighter who never had the guts to face Joseph Parker in the first place. The moment he narrowly beat Anthony Joshua, his focus shifted straight to Oleksandr Usyk, too terrified to take a real risk that could jeopardize his payday. Parker is exactly the kind of opponent who could dismantle Dubois' polished image. So what did he do? He made the ultimate move, backing out with excuses
Daniel's
that screamed fear, knowing full
Usyk,
well
is it a
Parker
case
was
of,
the
well,
real test.
Same as last
and now,
time.
out of nowhere,
But
he's
it is a
suddenly
good fight.
ready for
It
Usyk.
really is a good fight, and I'm glad
The
it's
truth
undisputed.
is,
I can understand
Dubois
Usyk
isn't
wants to be.
chasing
Would it be a 3
competition.
times undisputed?
He's chasing a massive
no one's ever
payday,
done that, so I can
hoping
understand the
greatness will
motivation
come
for that
without
for him.
truly earning
And
it.
also for Daniel,
If he
what a better
genuinely
time for
believed
Daniel
in
when
his
he's coming off
abilities,
great wins.
he would
Obviously,
have
he didn't
fought
get his
Parker
fight,
and
but
proved
they're both
himself the
coming
hard
off
way.
coming off great wins, and it's a
Instead,
good
he's
undisputed
running
fight.
from
And
real threats. The question remains, is he a legitimate contender, or just another hype job avoiding the real challenges? Joe Gallagher sees Dubois versus Usyk as one of the biggest heavyweight clashes in recent memory, but let's not sugarcoat it. Does Dubois really have what it takes to beat Usyk, or is this just a payday wrapped in false hope? Usyk, on the other hand, is chasing history. He aims to become a 3-time undisputed champion, a feat no one in the history of the sport has ever achieved. He has already cemented his place as one of the greatest fighters of this era, and now he's looking to further solidify that legacy. Meanwhile, Dubois is riding the wave of hype from a few good wins, but let's be brutally honest. None of those victories came against someone on Usyk's level. This fight isn't just another stepping stone, it's a cold, hard test to determine if Dubois belongs among the elite, or if he's just another overhyped heavyweight cashing in on the big stage. If he steps into the ring thinking this time will be different, he's in for a rude awakening. Usyk isn't slowing down, he's constantly evolving, and he won't show mercy for Dubois' weaknesses. Dubois will need more than just power and determination. He'll need to prove to the world that he's truly ready for the top level. Will Dubois rise to the occasion, or will he be exposed once again by one of the greatest heavyweights to ever step into the ring? Like, comment, and subscribe for more intense boxing breakdowns.